Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode at the Warehouse Underground podcast, Real Talk, for warehouse, DC, and FC professionals of all levels around the globe. I'm Ben, the host of the show, and joining me on the show today is Janielle Myers. She's a global operations and supply chain executive working now doing some very cool stuff with Loft Orbital in outer space. Very neat. We will talk about that more in the show, but has been in this industry for a long time, done a lot of cool and interesting things from chief operations officer. She has spent some time in warehouse and logistics, leading there, material planning, working as a consultant, all sorts of things. So I'm very excited about having her on the show to learn more about what she's done, her background. This will be a cool show for people to listen to if they are interested in the supply chain space, if they think they want to go into this, because there are lots of good lessons learned from Janielle, right? So I will bring her on the stage right now. Janielle, coming live from across the globe. How are you? Thank you very much for joining the podcast and what's been going on.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I'm currently in the UAE, building satellites.
Yeah, satellites. I see them behind you, right? So we talked a little bit about this before the show, but I want to say thank you again. You responded to someone that reached out to you as a complete stranger, which was me. Hey, yeah, you're very interesting. I think you offering a lot of good insights. Would you like to appear on my podcast? And you were not like, I don't even know who you are. Please go away type thing. You embraced it and we started chatting and developed a relationship. So thank you for responding to a complete stranger, like many people do who appear on the podcast. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's at least right now, pretty obvious when a human being reaches out, and yeah. I'm always happy to talk to other people in the industry.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not a robot. I work very hard to not come off as a robot and everything. So, all right, cool. So we'll get a little bit more about what you're doing right now with Orbital, which is very cool, right? We'll talk about that more in the show. But before we do that, though, can you just tell the audience about your story? What's your story in the industry? Kind of what has your route been like to lead you up to where you are today and all the stops in between?
Sure. It's been a journey. I started in automotive, in motorcycles. I sort of stumbled into it. I've always really liked cars. So motorcycles were just a simple car. And I really grew my professional career in motorcycles, and it gave me the opportunity to travel around the world, and I got to do all the things. After 10 years in the motorcycle industry, I decided it was kind of time to move on. It was a good, natural choice at the time. And I realized that I had this insane breadth of experience that maybe somebody would want, but I realized the job market really wanted specialization. And I was like, what do I know the most about? And I was like, supply chain. I moved bikes and parts all around the world. So I went and got some supply chain certifications to sort of solidify hey, I know about this one subject matter. And then I went to work for a big supply chain company and ran their warehouse out by the Denver airport for a couple years. Got cool. A lot of good logistics experience training there, warehousing, right? And from there, I went to industrial manufacturing and did that for a hot minute, which was great for production planning and just material flows, tack time, lean, all those great things I got to put into actual processes, right? I was like, oh, I know these things. Let me actually do them now. So that was really exciting. And then right now I'm in aerospace, and it's such an exciting industry. Automotive, motorcycles was a very exciting industry. And supply chain is exciting, but it wasn't as much fun as motorcycles. But aerospace it's really fun.
Yeah, that's a big leap, I think, from motorcycles to outer space. But maybe it's like what people say. They're like, well, it is a big leap, but the nuts and bolts of kind of what you do is similar,
Hmm.
right? Like it's a similar
Yeah,
process in supply chain, no matter what the output is. Is that what you're finding with that?
sort of. I mean, it's slightly different, right? But in
Yeah.
motorcycles, the consequences are real. If you had a
Yeah.
part that failed, that could kill somebody. That could kill somebody else on the road as well, you know? So you wanted to make sure there's real life consequences here, right? I mean, there is in aerospace, but there's a lot more checks and balances, and obviously it's regulated way more than automotive. Automotive is highly regulated, but mostly just for OEMs. Aftermarket has next to no regulation. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, it swings two directions there. But in aerospace, it's regulated. It's regulated by multiple countries. It's regulated by the UN. There's lots of testing that has to go involved. So the chance of us launching a satellite and it just flying out of the sky and like killing somebody is very low, right?
Yeah.
The biggest
Yeah.
risk that we have for in the aerospace is, hey, we launch a satellite and it doesn't connect or it doesn't work for as long as we want. And so we spent millions of dollars essentially shipping some trash to space. And
Yeah.
so there's that monetary thing, right? Like we don't
Yeah.
want to do that. It's
Yeah.
terrible. It's terrible for the environment, but just different levels of responsibilities.
I'm very happy to learn that a lot of steps are being taken to stop satellites from falling on my head, like out of airspace. So you've given me confidence in that.
Yeah.
So, so I appreciate that. So let me ask this. I mean, and we kind of mentioned this, or you mentioned this, and I know about this in supply chain world, distribution world, just this industry. It's very common for people to sort of wear many hats. They do many different things in their career often, but sometimes even when they're in their same job, they wear many different hats. So do you think that that's a good thing? I mean, do you think that people should embrace that and grow into that, or should people try to stay more stovepipe in their area? Like, what do you think the reality is in the supply chain space that the next generation coming up needs to know? I mean, is that a part of it that should be embraced, or do you think that people should kind of push back on that? Because it is very common, I think, in today's supply.
I would say yes, but so
Yeah.
it's easy to get overwhelmed or to get bogged down. But you say yes when you're going to expand, you're going to grow, you're going to learn something that you haven't learned before. So if it's you know, people always want to be helpful, right? So you end up saying yes to things that maybe you shouldn't say yes to. But if it's like, for me, if somebody came and said, oh, hey, can you like edit this spreadsheet? I have to realize like that's not really the best use of my time, right? And so you have to be careful of those things that you say yes to because you only have so much capacity and then you don't want to just do everything poorly. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, so yes, you want to expand. The most frustrated I've been in my career is when I felt stalled and I didn't have any professional development. So if it is something that you are going to learn, if it's something where you're going to go meet people that you haven't met before, if you can expand your horizon, then it's a yes. And if not, then you have to learn to set those boundaries.
Yeah, I think that that is fantastic advice. And a lot of times I'll say, if you take on too many things, usually people feel the urge to do them all, to complete them all, because that's just how a lot of people are wired, particularly in this industry. But what happens though, like you said, you only have so much bandwidth, and you get the final output that you get is just sort of either a watered down version of all of it, like it's there, but they're all just kind of watered down, or you get an excellent version of all of it and you got watered down, like you got burned down, your energy got burned down. So I think that that's fantastic advice for people, because and no one, in my experience, no one's going to look out for you. I mean, you may have a great
Mhm.
mentor that looks out for you and everything, but usually people are just happy to hand off as much as you're willing to do and as much as you're willing to take. So I think people really need to look out for that. That can be that can be a reality, I think, of the industry. So I think that's fantastic advice. Now,
Yeah.
let me ask.
Bosses.
Let me ask.
Oh, no,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say bosses love, right? The whole mantra
Oh my
is if
gosh.
you have something that
Yeah.
needs to be done, give it to the busiest person and then it'll get done. And it's like, yes, it will. But also like, do you need somebody else? Or like, can you delegate this to somebody else? Right.
Yep. Those are important skills. And they don't teach you those. They don't really always
Mm,
teach you that in college. You know, if you're
no.
going through a supply chain degree, like you don't, there's no lesson on that, right? There's no thing on that. You can really only pick that up from people like you that
Mm,
are mentors that put it out there that have the scars, for lack of a better term, to prove it and talk about it, which kind of leads me into my next question. And that's a concept that does not really it does get talked about, right? You see this get posted on LinkedIn, but in supply chain world, everybody's seen the funny memes, the pictures. Hey, I'm in supply chain and logistics, and it's the guy, he's at the beach and he's out in the ocean with the water with his laptop up and he's still sending emails because he's a supply chain person or she's a supply chain person. And we've all seen things like that. I think you know what I'm talking about. But let's talk about burnout though, right? Because it is burnout a myth, right? Like, is it just sort of a funny thing, or is burnout an actual real risk, a real barrier that people need to think about in their careers so that they can build a plan to neutralize it and not end up there? What do you think about burnout? Like real thing, or it's kind of overhyped?
No, as someone that was forged in the fire of supply chain, I used to sort of be like, oh yeah, burnout, whatever, until it happened to me.
Yeah.
And the tricky thing about burnout is you don't notice it, right? You're the frog in the boiling pot, and then all of a sudden you come up for air and you're like, I don't even know what happened in the last 6 months or however long it's been. And so it's good to have check-ins with yourself. And I've put this into place. Also, boundaries. And people are terrible at boundaries. Okay. Like just naturally, we are all terrible at it. So there's definitely tips. I mean, go find some information on how to set boundaries. That's where it starts. Making sure you're looking after yourself. I realize that for myself, when I'm approaching burnout or when I'm really stressed out and I'm not my best self anywhere, I stop putting on lotion. That's my trigger.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah.
kind of weird, but I've realized that about myself. So if you've lived through it, that maybe you can look back and try to reflect and think, okay, what am I going to do? But just having those check-ins with yourself, once a month, once every 3 months, like, hey, where am I at? How am I feeling? Because it affects our whole lives and we don't live at work, so partners, children, pets, like they're all going to experience your burnout in a different way, right? Like
Yep.
if you're burnt out, your circle gets it as well, So boundaries,
Yep.
I can't
Yep.
stress that enough. I had a boss once tell me that I was really good at setting boundaries, and my response back to him was I shouldn't have to be. So if you do have to set boundaries, maybe you're not where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think it's important for people listening to hear that there is a stigma around it, right? But it's okay, right? It's okay to set those boundaries. It's okay to learn the signs and symptoms that your body's sending you, just like it would if you're getting sick, right? I think I'm getting a fever. I'm starting to get a scratchy throat. Like your body's telling you something's wrong. Like I'm fighting something off, and it will do those same things for burnout. Like something's wrong. The battery is too low. And for you, it's lotion. Right? I completely
Yeah. I don't know why that is.
I don't
Walking
know.
around with dry hands and it's just no lotion. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I just
if I
realized
shake
that's
hands
my
with you,
personal trigger. Okay, that's my
yeah.
everybody's gonna have theirs.
So I shake hands with you, Janelle. I'm your boss. Oh, holy crap, Janelle! You need to take some PTO. Like this is just
Yeah.
my hand is just no, I'm kidding. But we joke, but it is a real thing. All right, it's a real thing for
Yeah.
people to be aware of and listen to your body and listen to the boundary and don't run that battery down to zero because then your phone shuts off. right? Or it's just running really glitchy. One of those two things is going to happen to you.
Well,
You're gonna be glitchy, or you're gonna shut down if you do that.
I like being good at what I do. It's like somebody's like, what do you want to do in your life? And I was like, I want to be the best at whatever I do. Like I'm competitive. I don't necessarily have like this niche that I am drawn towards, but I want to be the best. And so I will burn myself out to just make sure that I am the best at whatever I do. I don't want anybody coming to me and being like, hey, you did a poor job over here. So I would like work myself crazy. And I had to sort of have this epiphany, if you will. It's not even quite that, hey, I'm not going to do my best work when I'm working all day and then I come home and I open my laptop and I continue to work and then I do the next, maybe I'm ordering groceries in because I don't want to take the time to go to the grocery store so I can be on work more. And then I realized, oh, this is silly because I'm much better when I get 8 hours of sleep a night, when I'm looking after myself, when I'm, planning out my meals instead of just ordering in DoorDash or whatever, and I'm like taking care of myself. That's when I produce the best work. And that's what's important to me. So I just had to change my perspective. Anytime that I've ever had any growth or professional development, it's really just been a change in perspective on something.
Yep. And if you want to grow, and people always want to grow, it's like when people work out, they go to the gym. You cannot grow if you work out 18 hours a day. Going to the gym's good, but not at that level. You have to work out, and then you rest and you recover, and you get sleep and good meals and everything, and then you come back. And your mental state and your brain works the same way, I think. But sometimes we don't treat it that same way. So good talk, good discussion. I want people to know that Ben and Janielle say it's okay to set boundaries. You must set boundaries in your career if you're young and entering. It's a reality, right? Cool. So talk to me about Loft Orbital. It looks awesome. You're doing some very cool stuff. You see the satellites right behind you there. I know the show's not really about Loft Orbital, but you just explain kind of what you're working on with them, the exciting things, because what we talked about before, it sounds really cool on what you're working on. Some really interesting stuff. So what's up there?
Well, I have to start by giving like a huge shout out to Loft because it's such an amazing place to work. And I didn't sort of realize it until I started there and was working with the people. And for me, the change is working with people that are going to work to pay the mortgage and they're just going to a job versus working with people that want to work for a company. It's like night and day. So shout out to Loft and their recruiters and everybody else. It's a fantastic place to work. It's also super exciting because we yeet satellites into space. And we get to see pictures of those. So they mainly do Earth imaging. So we get to see these great images that have coming back. And so we have that tangible thing, right? And we are doing great work. So some of the stuff we do is, the satellites will go and be taking pictures over huge sections of the Earth, but we might have an AI on that satellite that's to pick up like a wildfire. So it'll say, oh, hey, there's something that looks like smoke in this picture. That shoots it over to a person that looks at it and says, oh yeah, that is smoke. And we can action it from there. And so there's so much that can be done with this type of information. And the governments around the world, I don't want to get too political, right? Some of this funding's been pulled back. But there's plenty of private companies that are still interested in these types of things. So it's all very exciting.
Yeah. And they have a mission, right? They have everybody is kind of on that buy-in on that mission and what they're doing, exciting about what they do. And it seems like you're probably working a lot of hours there, but is it fair to say that it doesn't really feel as bad? Like if you're at a place that you're just getting paid and you're just kind of clocking in and you don't really love it, you're not really into what they do, those hours feel long. But it seems like if you're at a place like where you are, where you really believe in it and everybody buys into it, it doesn't feel the same way. Is that true? Or did I just make that up on the spot?
No, that's absolutely true. The long hours aren't necessarily I mean, like they do also support like work-life balance, but my main role is to get parts over to the UAE to scale manufacturing. And so I have to get on at different times of the day because I'm working with people all over the world. I'm working with people in France. And so there's just different time zones. Um, but there's also, they make sure that we have fun while we do it. We have like massage chairs and ping pong tables. And if you need a break, then you go take a
Yeah.
break, right? Like it's nobody's sweating you. Nobody's micromanaging you, which is very nice.
Oh man. Ah, I hope lots
Yeah.
of companies listen to this and hear the massage chair thing. I think everyone would agree. I mean, we need that. We need more massage chairs. Come on. Okay. Dig
Yeah,
that.
no, we
Excellent.
we definitely have some very cool perks that I haven't experienced at other companies. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm down for that. Right. So cool. Right. So the transition, it's hard to transition out of massage chair and satellites and outer space to the next part of the show, but I'll try to do it. Right. So let me ask you this question because you have had a successful career. You're very ambitious. You've had lots of cool stops and you've done lots of good things. And one of the things that people will sometimes find in the industry is that they want to run very fast. They want to run very fast. They want to do a lot of things. They want to take on a lot of initiatives. And sometimes what can plague them, a pitfall that people may fall into, is that I begin to just focus on all of that. And I become this person that is not approachable. I'm very prickly. I'm not approachable because I'm going so fast, so fast, so fast. But what do you think about that? I mean, I know we've talked about running at 100 miles an hour, but do you think that it's also important for people to say, no, I also need to bring people into the fold. It can't just be me and everybody gets on at my speed or else get off. Like I also need to be cognizant of how I am and how I'm perceived so that I can bring others into it too. And in the end, that kind of makes it better for me. What do you think about that general concept? Because I feel like, healthcare and doctors, I've sometimes seen that with an emergency room, but it happens a lot in supply chain too, I think. So what are your thoughts on that general concept and that idea?
so I mean, for me, and it's so trite at this point, but it goes back to servant leadership, right? Like
Mm.
everybody says servant leadership, like, okay, what is it really? And then there's this sort of fake servant leadership. But what you're talking about is, hey, we have to bring up this next, like other people should be in the room. We have to share our knowledge. Um, you can't do everything by yourself. You do have to give up some of that control sometimes, right? Uh, when you take on too much, again, it also boundaries. so
Yeah.
so it really depends on where you're at in the company. Maybe you're in senior leadership. If you are, okay, we can't have 5 goals this year. Okay. It's not going to happen. Pick out 2, 3, pick out what's going to have the biggest impact. Okay. Let that be our North Star of here's where we're marching to. I'm not saying goals, positions, anything can't change, but figure out where we're going. And then let's figure out what the priorities are. So sometimes I've worked for companies, especially like newer companies, startups, those priorities change a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're going to come over here and do this. And then next month, oh, JK, for whatever reason. I've worked for founders that would just off the cuff go buy commercial properties. And I would have to, I would have to go get everything ready into the bank and be talking, right? Like, hey, hop to
Yeah.
it. Okay, great. So it's good to go back. I've had bosses, not even founders, just go, okay, do this. And then the next week, tell me to do something else with little to no direction, mind you. And then, oh,
Yep.
do this. And so I'm a super rational, logical person. So I would put all those in a list and I would say, hey, which one of these do you want me to work on first? Second, here's how much time I think that this is going to take. And when you
Yep.
come back at them with some data, then they kind of go, oh, actually, that's not a priority. Or, oh, actually, I don't need that. And then also you can go from there and say, okay, here's the amount of help that I'm going to need. This isn't a one-person role. Okay, this I can do by myself. This I'll get done in a day, right? So
Yeah.
it's back to
It's a
boundary setting.
it's a tough, yeah. And I think where it ends up for me personally is if I do a good job of creating those boundaries for myself, then that means that I have more bandwidth. Right now, I have more bandwidth. I'm more approachable. I have more good energy, and that attracts other people. Right. And now I'm bringing other people into the fold, whether it's mentoring or guiding or
Mhm.
training or teaching or coaching. You're always sort of doing that, but you're never going to be in a position to do that if you're rubbing yourself down to the nub, right? Like I don't have anything left
Yeah.
because I set no boundaries. And then now you're just pushing everybody away. And ultimately, I think in any career, if you really want to go far, that's the old African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, you need to go together. I think in the supply chain industry, if you want to go far, you need to go together because there's just so many things
Yeah.
interconnect and there's so many people that are connected that it's like a big web. In order to do that, I think you're right. It all comes back to setting the boundaries so that you reserve as much of your energy as you can in a positive way for everybody else and what you're doing. So I like that. Cool. Right. So let me ask this. You spent time in warehouses, plenty of time in warehouses. That's how we originally connected online because I saw some of your posts about some warehouse stuff. I'm like, I get that right away. I get it exactly what she's talking about. But what's your experience been like in them? And then because now you're on the other side, so now you're on planning and materials and everything. What do you think about SIOP? I hesitate to bring that up. So, I mean, how well do you think, what's your experience in warehouse? And then how well do you think the full supply chain operation is being brought into the fold from the warehouse leaders? Is that something that's going well for them? Or do you think that the industry as a whole needs to do a better job of bringing them in?
Well, for warehouses, I did tell my last director of operations, I said, don't let me die in this dusty corner of a warehouse. I can tell so much about a company based on their warehouse and their inventory. Like if I walk in and your inventory is a mess, you have adjustments all over, multiple SKUs in a location, counts are wrong. I know your whole company is a mess. How are your books? Like it is green flag, red flag for me. I can tell immediately what type of company I'm in based on their inventory. The health of a company's inventory is the health of the company. And that's like just an inalienable truth that I have had in my entire career. SIOP for me, I think it can be good. I think it's a social construct more than anything, trying to get, supply side, demand side to agree. But I think SIOP is a baby step to integrated business planning. So what I want to know is what's going to be available when. I want a horizon where I can say, here's your capacity. And okay, if we are forecasting that product line is going to go ham, okay, then what do we need to do? We either need to tell sales, you can't sell any more of that, which is not going to go over well, or we need to say, hey, here's what we need to do to increase capacity, right? And there's going to be that equilibrium, right? Where if sales is only going to sell 5% more, they're not going to buy a new machine. They're not going to hire a new operator. Things aren't going to go that well, right? They're not going to expand the warehouse space. But if there's that real growth. So I think it's good for those types of conversations, but it's a baby step. You want to get to integrated business planning.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of it too can depend on the capabilities at the particular company that you're at. In terms of the systems that they use, the software they use, how much historical data they have, how much real-time data they have. There's a huge gap there. But I think you're right. It at its core, it's just the communication and a social construct. And I know sometimes the sales people that I've worked with in the past don't really love SIOP because they think, oh gosh, now I'm going to have to put a forecast out there and I'm going to have to be held accountable to forecasts. And I can't do that because it's the customers and I don't, right. You get that whole thing, but I think you've got to have something. And in the end, that makes a warehouse manager or distribution manager's life easier. They have more of a fighting chance then if they know what they should be planning for and staffing for and all that. But I think you're right, in my opinion, about the inventory. The inventory must be accurate. You must have accurate inventory and facility and programs for that because your whole supply chain can crumble if you don't. You overbuy or underbuy or write off, and it just becomes a wreck. So totally agree with you on the inventory piece there and the SIOP. So, and I'm glad that you didn't keel over in the corner of a dusty warehouse, Janielle. That's just not, that's not how you want to go out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think part of the fundamental sort of flaw in SIOP is that it starts with sales. And you want your sales guys to have all the ego, okay? That's who you want in sales. But I feel like they've got to come in with their, hey, I'm going to sell all of this. And operations just looks at them and says, sure you are, you know? And then we adjust the forecast based on reality. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and there's no perfect PSYOP. There's no perfect process, and I don't like no company. I've never been or heard of any company that's like, oh yeah, we've got PSYOP on lockdown. Like it's not even a thing here. No, it's the same place no matter where you go. It's just different variations of it, but it doesn't mean that people should just not have it, right? Like give the warehouse manager a fighting chance to produce and have some good things in there to happen for the company. So let me ask this. So we both post a lot on LinkedIn. I've been posting on LinkedIn for years now, growing the podcast and the brand and everything. And you do too, right? So, you have a lot of good insights and I appreciate people that put it out there in the universe, so to speak, that share their knowledge and wisdom and everything. But everybody has different reasons for why they choose to become more visible online, why they post things and tidbits and all that. And I have my reasons, but what's yours? I mean, what is it about you that makes you comfortable enough to say, I'm going to put things out here for people to read and see? Because it's a little bit unnerving when you start to do that. It's a little bit, it can give you some anxiety when you put yourself out there. But what is it behind you? What's your reason? Why are you doing that today? And I hope people follow you on LinkedIn, by the way, because there's lots of cool stuff going on there.
Yeah, this has been like a lifelong thing for me. I can't be anything but authentic. And sometimes I'm not for everybody. I realize that. I can be a lot sometimes. But this is a good and bad thing about me. I generally do not care what other people think about me. And other people are always like, that's the way to be, like, that's the way to live your life. Like, who cares what other people think? And it's good and bad. Like, yes, I don't ever go to sleep at night concerned that somebody doesn't like me. Like, I'd be concerned if my dog didn't like me or maybe like my child, but I have a very small group. And so I always used to joke and I'd say, don't join my fan club. Like, I don't care. So that part of it, like not necessarily nervous about being forward facing. I got into LinkedIn really because I was in a not great work situation and I was looking to change where I was. And I reach out because this isn't my subject matter expertise over here, LinkedIn. So I reached out, get a career coach, and they're like, you've got to be posting on LinkedIn at least this many times and all this stuff. And so then I tried to do that. It didn't work out great. I got a different career coach with better advice. So I was like, oh, I actually know some of these things, right? Like I'm here, I'm doing the work. What do I feel? And then how do I communicate that to somebody else, right? When I'm like, don't let me die in the dusty corner of the warehouse. Like, okay, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in the warehouse forever, right? Like I wanted to get out of it. But I love warehousing and I do warehousing really well. And I can walk into a warehouse and I feel so at home and so comfortable. And that's when I realized I shouldn't be in the warehouse anymore because I was so comfortable. And I was like, I need to grow. I need to expand what I know. So yes, LinkedIn is an interesting beast. It's definitely their algorithms and like, right? Like that wants to hear about AI and supply chain. And I'm like, I don't know about that many AI supply chain things. So trying to get on, but I've made some great connections. I've had great conversations with other people in the industry. I've got to meet people all over the world about supply chain, and I'm always happy to help out, make a connection, make an introduction for anybody I know. And that's been really rewarding, is to be able to take what little sliver of LinkedIn that I've grown
Yeah.
and help other people when I can.
Yeah, so this career coach you have told you should appear on the Warehouse Underground podcast, right? And you told them, and so they are A plus. I really like this career coach that you have now.
Yeah, he's great, and he's always sending me things, and then I have like my homework, right? And then sometimes I don't do it. And like,
Yeah.
right? It's like, make sure you're commenting on other people. Send people articles, right? Like, of things that but it's always be authentic. And I can't be anything but authentic, for better or for worse, for my career.
Yep. And some people ask me about that because the people that know me, I am sort of naturally a bit of an introverted personality. And then when people find that out, they go, well, how can that be? You're all over LinkedIn and you do the podcasts and everything. I'm like, yeah, but it's just different. It's hard to explain, but it's a little bit different. But for me, how I've always looked at it is, first of all, if people don't like what you are putting out there, if they don't like your vibe and everything, it doesn't, in the beginning, it might bother you. But what I want to tell people is that person is not, they're not your audience, right? Like they're not the person that you are meant to kind of vibe with anyway. So it's just never going to work, right? When you find your crowd, when you find your people, it will be easy, right? They will appreciate what you're putting out there and the vibe is there and the wavelength, and don't worry about it, right? So just like take that as an immediate signal from your body. This is not my audience. This is not my person. So I'm moving on, right? It's not a big deal, right? Not everyone's going to like what you make, right? Just like food, restaurants, movies, the whole bit. Because I feel like there's many, many, many people that I've encountered that have so much incredible, just they're so interesting, right? They're so interesting and they have so much good stuff to share that so many people could benefit from, and they just don't. And I feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity for humanity, right? Like way over the top discussion here, but that's how I feel about that. So those people listen, just put it out there, send it out there. It'll be okay. Just keep going. We'll appreciate
the
it.
LinkedIn universe.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Cool. Right. So like I'm talking way too much on my show here. You're my guest. Cool. All right. So Janielle, where can people find out more about you? And like I said, I hope they reach out to you on LinkedIn and follow you, because that's that. But I mean, is that okay? I mean, can people do like I did and message you directly on LinkedIn? Is that cool? And kind of what sort of things are you working on in 2026 and maybe beyond?
Yeah, absolutely. If you send me some bot response, I will waste your token though. That's one of my favorite things to do, is
Like that.
Yeah. I should name and shame some of these because they are terrible, but any real people that are interested in supply chain, automotive, motorcycles,
Yeah.
I get along with most people, so absolutely reach out. LinkedIn is where my professional persona lives for the time being.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. For 26, I've been trying to get, we're going to have one of these satellites. It should be launching in October. And I am a rational, logical, I don't like emotional decisions. Like I'm very, I like things that I get to make a spreadsheet for, and I don't have to make emotional decisions. But when this satellite goes off, I'm going to be just a blubbering wreck. It's just so exciting. So I'm just going to be over here crying in the corner of the warehouse, happy tears that satellite that I've worked so hard on is going into space. And then we're launching, I think 6 more next year. So, but we're working on those now. So that's what I'm doing. Just trying to get satellites built. I don't do the building. I just get the parts and give them to the people that know what they're doing to build them.
Yeah, but it's all part of the team, though. It's all part of the team. I mean, you're working on that, so that is awesome. That is really cool stuff. I hope that you really get to see that come to fruition. I'm sure it's just amazing to see that what you've worked so hard on actually happen. And I love that. And I'm sure I'm sure you won't be the only one that's shedding some tears of joy there. And that's just, that's great. That's life. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of you that you get to have that moment. That's really neat.
Yeah. We watched, we had a watch party at work for Artemis, and we're sitting around. Oh, I don't want to get emotional.
Yeah,
And
no, it's okay.
lots of people in the room. Oh gosh, I'm going to do it. They were like, oh, I worked on that.
Yeah.
I'm working with these people that built a rocket that is going into space. Like, it's very cool.
No, I know. No, I know. Because your heart is there, right? Like your soul is there. My work, everything, like everybody put their heart in it. Yeah, it's machinery and everything, but it's people, right? It's humans that went into that and work and everything. So I like that. I appreciate it.
It's something to do with space. I don't understand what it is, but space is like very emotional for humans. At least this human.
Yeah. Good. Well, that's a good thing. It means you're alive, Janielle. It means you're connected and a real person, and you really care about things. And the more people that are like that, the better off we're going to be. Great guests. I appreciate it again, and come back anytime. And let me know how things go with that satellite. Maybe we come on, do another show, a little recap of the satellite launch.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'll take some selfies of me.
Yeah. Yes.
Ugly crying.
Yes, this is ugly cry, but trust me, I'm happy. Doesn't look like it in the picture. I am very happy, extremely happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there's so much that goes into it, and so much like human innovation. And anyway, I don't want to carry on for ages about it.
No, but you could, right? You could, right? Well, I appreciate it again. Thank you very much for your time. Good luck to you the rest of the year. Don't be a stranger, and I will see you around on the LinkedIn streets, as they say.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You got it. Bye-bye. All right, guys, that concludes this episode. Janielle Myers, fantastic guest, right? Just very down to earth, very authentic. Don't be a stranger. Reach out to her on LinkedIn, learn more about supply chain, more about what they're doing at Loft Orbital. Very, very, very cool stuff, right? So thank you again, Janielle. As the Warehouse Underground goes, please sign up for the community. Over 300 people have signed up for the community. It's free. Come on in there. We have message boards and live events and networking, all sorts of cool things going on inside the community at thewarehouseunderground.com. And please check out the Tiger Team show. We released episode number 10 2 weeks ago, last week. It is the show with my co-host Jordan about life in warehouses and FCs and DCs, but with a sarcastic, witty, humorous flavor. And please check that show out. I think you guys will like it for some lighthearted relief. So as this podcast goes, I will see everyone next week for another episode. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.